I met my fiancé, Drew, 32 man, through a mutual friend 2 years ago. He was charming in this subtle, effortless way. You know those people who make you feel like you're the only one in the room. That's Drew. He had this grounded, warm presence, and he made me feel safe in a way I hadn't felt in years. We started dating. Things moved quickly, but not in a scary way. It just felt natural. Within 6 months, we were living together in his apartment. A year in, he proposed during a trip to the mountains with just the two of us. It was intimate, romantic, and perfect, or so I thought. From the beginning, Drew was weird about his family. He told me he wasn't close to them, that his parents were overbearing and judgmental, and that he only really stayed in touch with his younger sister, Megan. He said Megan moved abroad a few years ago after a falling out with their parents, and that they only spoke through email because she hated phones and didn't have social media. I always thought that was odd, but Drew was so convincing. He'd even show me email threads they shared. Except something always felt off. I'd ask, "Why haven't I ever met Megan?" He'd say, "She's a private person. She doesn't like people prying into her life." Or, "She's in Japan right now. It's a huge time difference." After a while, I stopped asking. I didn't want to seem like I was snooping or doubting him, but something about Megan just didn't sit right with me. Fast forward to our engagement party, which Drew's parents insisted on hosting at their estate. That surprised me, considering how Drew always painted them as toxic and judgmental. But he said they were trying to make amends. That night, I finally met his family. His parents were not what I expected. His mom was warm, almost overly enthusiastic to meet me. His dad was reserved, polite, and had this quiet sadness behind his eyes. I could sense tension, but it wasn't directed at me. It was something else. Then, something strange happened. Drew's mom, after a few glasses of wine, pulled me aside and said, "I'm so glad he's finally found someone who makes him happy. After everything with Megan, I didn't think he'd ever settle down." I smiled and said, "Yeah, he talks about her all the time. I just wish I could meet her." She blinked. "You haven't?" I said, "No, she's still in Japan, right?" Her face froze. She looked at me like I'd just spoken in another language. "Sweetheart, Megan died 5 years ago." I laughed, thinking she was joking, but her expression didn't change. What? She was in a car accident. Drew was with her. He was in the passenger seat. That's when he cut ties with us. He blamed us, said we pressured her too much, made her feel like she had to be perfect. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I walked away, locked myself in the bathroom, and sat there, shaking, for I don't know how long. Megan? I didn't say anything that night. I couldn't. I felt like my entire relationship had cracked open, and I was just peering into this dark, unfamiliar place. When we got home, I confronted Drew. I didn't scream. I didn't accuse. I just said, "I spoke to your mom." He went pale. "What did she say?" she told me about Megan. He stared at me, silent. His eyes started to water. "I didn't want to tell you," he whispered, "because if I did, I'd have to face it." He broke down, full-on sobbing, the kind that takes over your whole body. He confessed that Megan had been the only person in his life who truly got him. She was his best friend, and when she died, he lost a piece of himself. So, he created the emails to keep her alive in some way. He was emailing himself as Megan. I was speechless. He said it started as a coping mechanism. But then he met me. And by then, the lie had spiraled too far. He didn't know how to untangle it. I asked him, "Were you ever going to tell me?" He shook his head, ashamed. "No. I thought if I never told you, it wouldn't hurt you." But it did hurt. I wasn't mad that he was grieving. I was mad that he built our relationship on a lie. That he let me believe his sister was alive. That he made me feel like I was crazy for asking questions. I didn't leave him that night. But I also didn't stay the same. Over the next few weeks, we went to therapy, both together and separately. He worked through his trauma. I worked through my trust issues. It wasn't easy. Some days I wanted to scream at him. Other days I felt so sorry for him. I couldn't stop crying. The thing is, I still loved him. But I had to ask myself, could I trust him again? And then came the final twist. One night, about 3 months after the party, I got a message on Instagram from someone named Megan. The profile was new. One photo, no followers. The message said, "I know what Drew told you. He doesn't know I'm alive." I stared at it for what felt like an hour. I replied, "Is this a joke?" She sent a voice note, and it was her. It was Megan, alive. She explained everything. She faked her death. She was in a toxic household, suffocating under the pressure of her parents' expectations. After the accident, which wasn't fatal, but serious, she decided she needed to disappear. She told Drew not to tell anyone, said she needed a clean break, or she'd never escape. But Drew couldn't handle it. He couldn't live with the lie. So over time, his guilt rewrote the story in his head until he believed she was dead. I don't know what shocked me more, that Megan was alive or that Drew wasn't actually lying to me the way I thought he was. He had trauma-induced memory loss. His brain rewrote reality to protect him. I told Megan she had to talk to him. She was terrified, but agreed. They met. They cried. They screamed. They hugged. And eventually, they healed. It's been 6 months since all this came out. Drew and I postponed the wedding. Not because we're not in love, but because we want to rebuild everything on truth. No more lies. No more secrets. We're still together. We go to therapy. We have hard conversations. But we're stronger now. Messy, imperfect, but real. So yeah, I didn't expect my engagement party to reveal that my fiancé's sister faked her death, and he repressed the truth so deeply he thought she was gone forever but in a weird way, it brought everything into the light. And I guess that's the silver lining. You ever get that gut feeling that you're being used, but you try to brush it off because it's family? That was me. Just a guy trying to survive, raise my baby boy, and recover from a stupid financial decision. Instead, I walked right into the arms of someone I thought would help me, my mother. Only to find out I was just another asset to be squeezed dry. Let me take you back to how it all went down. So my wife and I made a mistake, a car. One of those looks good on paper, but slowly drains your soul kind of mistakes. It tanked us. Between the insurance, repairs, gas, and the monthly payments, it bled us dry. After months of juggling credit cards and skipping date nights just to keep up, we hit a wall. I had to admit defeat. We were in a hole, a deep one. And with a 15-month-old baby depending on us, we needed help fast. I turned to the one person I thought I could count on, my mother. I even put aside a deposit to help you get on your feet again. I remember how hopeful I felt after that call. It felt like someone had finally tossed me a rope. But that rope? Yeah, it was frayed and ready to snap. We moved into her house. I was embarrassed but hopeful. The first few weeks weren't bad. She played with my son, let us use the kitchen, even made dinner once or twice. She kept saying, "This is your home too." And I wanted to believe her. I gave her $1,000 a month. It was tight, but it felt fair. We were staying in her space. I was trying to be responsible, even while broke. But soon, things started to feel off. She'd disappear when it was time to feed or change my son. Suddenly, she was too tired or had errands. The same woman who offered to help with childcare couldn't even be bothered to heat up a bottle some nights. And then the food situation, that was a whole new level of disturbing. I noticed something strange one evening. I saw her making dinner for herself, and the kitchen smelled off. I checked the fridge later and found expired meat, moldy sauces, and a jar of pickles that looked like a science experiment. She was using this stuff to cook, for herself, and occasionally for my son. That's when I had to draw the line. I gently asked her not to give my son anything from her meals, and that we'd cook our own food for him. That didn't go over well. The passive-aggressive jabs started almost instantly. "Oh, I guess I'm not good enough now." Didn't realize I was raising a gourmet baby. Back in my day, we didn't cry over a little mold. It got exhausting. My wife and I stopped using her kitchen entirely. We started eating out of our room like guests in our own house. But the worst part wasn't the food, or the jabs, or even the disappointment. It was my birthday. I'm not big on celebrations, but I still got her a card and some small treats for hers a few weeks earlier, just a gesture. My birthday comes around, nothing. No happy birthday, no card, no acknowledgement. Until my nephew, bless his little heart, runs in and yells, "Grandma, it's his birthday today." She paused, turned to me, and gave me the most awkward, forced side hug of all time. It was like hugging a statue. I stood there, holding my son in one arm and a lump of disappointment in the other. Remember that deposit she promised? The one she said she had saved up to help me get back on my feet? Well, that turned out to be a lie too. She ended up using that money to bail herself out of a failed investment property deal. Apparently, she was short on a mortgage payment and decided my future could wait. She didn't even tell me. I found out through my cousin, who thought I knew. At that point, something snapped in me. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. My wife and I made a pact. We'd endure, pretend, smile through the pain, just for 4 more months. We'd save everything we could, cut every expense. No extra coffees, no gifts, nothing. We could scrape together $8,000. We can finally get our own place. No more spoiled food. No more side hugs. No more fake promises. I gave up on buying a house for now. The dream was dead. I just wanted peace. And when we leave, no contact. Her sisters, her whole enabler-filled family. I've seen enough. I've tried enough. Family doesn't mean blood. It means love, support, and keeping your promises. I used to think family would always have your back. That no matter what, they'd catch you when you fall. But now I know better. Sometimes the ones you trust the most are the ones who'll watch you fall and ask for rent while you're down. If you've ever been in a toxic family situation, if someone's ever used your lowest moment to lift themselves up, I feel you. And I promise, you're not alone.